One.
Yes.
Good afternoon, YouTube community.
So we are still testing new setups,
This is the Maike and Lilli show.
and it's working. I'm so
It's
proud.
the show number 4. Seems like we're live. We don't have any viewers yet, so is this a good or a bad sign?
We will see.
We will see. We'll do the show, and as always, we have you on Instagram watching live, and we have our camera rolling. So we're definitely not gonna lose these great talk on
Finances, trading, and
passive income.
Or just said, let's talk about money.
Where's my money? And where is more of it? How can I make more of it? So the first question people might be asking is, we run a coaching and consultancy. So
How the hell do you
what
come
makes
to
us
this
talk
topic?
about, is it because it's an extra day, or what is our motivation to talk about this figure topic, and we're not really known for talking facts and figures? So what is it?
Yeah, so as we want to show you guys all the sides of who we are, and so money, finances, trading, and passive income is also part of it, as of all successful people. But in general, so Maike, how did we came up with finances? By the way, we just came back, so 50 minutes ago, from the Deutsche Börsentag,
which is the official date of the German stock exchange, which located here in Frankfurt. Like literally, you can actually see the building, so it's really, really close. And we took it as a sign, since today is their annual day where they open their doors, talk about different finance strategies, passive income, and so on. Of course, also the latest trends. So as of coincidence, but we're surely going to also integrate this in our talk, which we're going to keep nice and short as usual, and looking forward to also receiving your comments on the topic, your experiences. But yeah, why are we also considering about our lifestyle, about our ways of generating passive income, and not just solely rely on coaching and consulting?
Yeah, of course. On the one hand, we can marry rich and relax, but this is not the best option. So we want to have a different setup for us. And in 5-10 years, we definitely do not want to have a YouTube show or be still coaches. Yeah, but we think bigger. Of course, we want to have a show, but on international TV, for example, or we want to have enough passive income which allows us to live a different lifestyle. So, for example, you want to maybe invest more time in your drawing, or
I want to set up my school.
Or you set up your school, or write more books. Yeah, I want to design a watch collection or do some charity. So we have different plans, and but still, of course, inspire people and help people, but on our conditions. So that's why we are working on finances, figuring out what's going on since for a while. But you are early bird, so to say, in this section, right? When did you start to do invests?
Yes, and no. So I did a bit for myself in a small scale. I started about 10 years ago to look into finances, and what I did back then was, like, I'm impressed now. I looked in a lot of things and I did a lot of things, but then, don't ask me why, I somehow stopped doing it. So I wasn't really involved in that anymore. Maybe it was a different period of life, but going down the road as entrepreneurs, working a lot on ourselves, on our business, doing self-development and thinking about who we are and what we want in life, that has really showed us that we want to have more income streams. We need to be independent. We want to do those things we want, even starting out as a small company. We really want to live and work with the values we have. And that has then realized, or has generated in me the realization that I had a good start like 10 years ago, but there's still a lot to catch up, and so many things have been happening. Only to mention Bitcoins or ETFs is one example. So I also need to do some catching up. And while we're doing it, so while we're building multiple income streams, looking at our private wealth situation, but then also as our company situation, we thought we'd take you along the ride and share a bit of our insights and knowledge. And we're still not financial advisors, so we're not going to give like really precise tips on what to do, what stocks to buy. We don't have the license and we don't want to be responsible. So all we do here is give you an inspiration to look into different topics and subjects. And but then the decision you'd have to do on your own.
And talking about decisions, so also today we have listened to amazing speakers, and everybody was going in that direction to say, okay, should you put all your eggs in one basket? Means take all your money, all your play money, or all your investing money you have and put it in one stock, or put it in one invest, or should you take your money and put it in different smaller invests?
Well, until recently, I was actually of the opinion, and this probably resonates with most of you, that diversification is good because you divide the risks into different, as Lily says, baskets. So you have some percentage of your disposable income in stocks. So if the stock market goes down, just mention Corona has caused 10% loss in the German stock index in 1 week, and we have not really had any trouble, difficulties as of, but still it has an negative effect of 10%. So to think, okay, well, maybe not put everything in there, but also have shares in maybe other countries, have real estate, do some private financing or whatever. So there's so many ways, and this totally resonated with me until really recently.
Yeah. And I want to bring the other side. So, for example, Warren Buffett, he is saying that better to put all the money you have in one stable invest. So it could be stocks or real estate. But the most important thing about it is to know where or in what you are investing. So you should always be able to describe to a 5-year-old kid what you are doing, or what the company you want to invest is doing, or how the return of invest is created. So you should always, 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 always be in the position to know what's the topic about. Yeah. And then you can really easily put all your money in a well researched and well prepared investment. So it doesn't matter if it is stock or if it is real estate or wherever you are investing.
Yeah. So that's what he calls value investing. And that actually, if you think about it, to put everything you have, all your disposable income into one share, for example, that sounds like highly risk investment. But if this was the only thing you had to concentrate on, and if you knew this was 100% of the money that you could either go on a cruise when you retire, give something to your grandchildren or not, then you'd have a total different focus than if you had something here or there. And let's face it, information is out of there. So the recent automotive crisis that we've had in Germany, especially after the trade show, was that a surprise?
Not really, yeah.
No, I could have had all the information because the German automotive industry has been struggling with alternative engines for a while.
Years.
So that was not really rocket science. But if we or anyone concentrating on this sole factor would have had much more knowledge and much more dedication in either refocusing, reshifting, or once the stock turns sideways, just sell it or whatever. And if you make, let's say, 500 euro plus, and the stock goes down, you sell it and it's only plus 400, you still have 400 plus. You have lost on the potential of making 500, but still 400, and depending, of course, in the amount of years, that is still something you need to go to your bank for savings for many centuries, probably.
Yeah, but I think also the key here is really to be on top of information. So come on, guys, we have all our smartphones always with us, next to us. And there are so many opportunities where you can have the information. So if you are thinking about investing or if you have already invested, so keep track of the industry, keep track of the stock market, keep track of the economics. So this is the most important information. And what is also important, surround yourself with people who are working in this area. So for example, that's why we are going to events like the Börsentag, or we are also trying to increase our network with people from this industry having a clue about cryptocurrency, about blockchain, about trading, real estate. Yeah. So because you can learn from them, and if you want to invest in local markets, it's key to be connected to those people.
Absolutely. Another really, really interesting topic, and there's also some controversy, and I think we've also had a few discussions and shifts in that discussion. The question is, what is consumption? What is investing? Is there a difference? And what is the difference? What is good debt? What is bad debt? And you've recently given a presentation on that.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to share the summary of the difference between investing and consuming.
Yeah, so you can also find it if you are signed up to our newsletter, and if you're not, then you should definitely sign up for our newsletter. And with the last version, so which came up today, we shared a speech of mine back in Albania where I was talking about consuming and investing and what's the difference. So thinking about myself a few years ago, I was totally on the side of consuming. I had a really well-paid job, and I was of the opinion that you only live once. YOLO, and you should take the fullest out of life. And if something happens, the state or somebody else will take care of you. So this is the advantage like of a German social system. This was my opinion, and I don't need to take care of it. I have the money, I spend the money. So I spend my money on cars, on and own a house, travels, clothes,
food,
watches. Yeah, because I collect watches, and every time.
Maybe that was a smart move. So let's see.
Yeah. So, but I consumed my money. Yeah. So, and never thought about investing. Of course, I took care of my pension. So I have, I think, since I'm 18, a special insurance where I'm paying since I'm 18 an amount of money which is securing my pension, or if something happens to me, that I have an income from that side. So this is a smart move. This was a smart move. But otherwise, I just spend the money. But then, of course, when you start your own business with this mindset, and then coming from high salary to, well, let's say zero salary at the beginning, it's like a total crash. Yeah. And then you have to rethink, and I have now a totally different relationship to consuming or investing. Yeah. So for example, last year I was no day shopping. So last year I did no shopping at all, because I was thinking, okay, it does not make sense. I better invest the money which I have in Malish, in our company. Maike, you are the total opposite.
Yeah, I was always very cautious with my money. Like the first money I made when I was 11, I had a job as a babysitter. I loved it. I did it once a week. It was reasonably money, given the fact that I had no education in that sense. I saved it. I even had a little logbook where I entered all of that. And then it was, of course, all cash in the days. And then I took it to the bank. And this is basically how I've always lived. The only times when I was really like generous with myself was when traveling. So I never missed a chance of doing something extra. Any trip I could do on top, or any ways I could not earn money but travel while I was abroad, I always took. But other than that, I was very conservative. But that maybe in some ways, in a way that was also not too good. So maybe a bit of more risk and a bit more bravery. That has actually, like, you've shifted from the other direction, and I really came from the saving.
But
where
we had the time together. So at the beginning, when we met and our friendship started, we consumed both. Yeah. So we were in the position where we consumed both. We traveled the world and we partied only and spent money, right?
Yeah, that was good, and it
time.
was needed. And I think what has Manish taught us is that both our attitudes and our upbringing and our mindset had its values, and that what we need to do in order to grow now is to combine it. So I was really, happy and loose with the money, saying, okay, go with the flow. I really loved your attitude, saying, spend money, it'll come back, which it eventually is. So if you invest and you do good things, it'll all comes back, that's for sure. But still, I don't want us to come in a position where we need to make business decisions that are unwise, or where we even need to shut down. And sometimes we just say, okay, now we don't take the apparent shortcut and we don't invest in certain things. We do it ourselves. That will be more sustainable. This also adds to our profile, to our credibility, if we did it ourselves instead of just buying whatever we need to go the next step. And that's our secret to success, I'd say. So combining the best of
both worlds,
yeah. But generally, anything that is short term, that goes away, like a vacation, yes, of course, it gives you great time, it gives you relaxation, but still, first day back at work, all is gone. So that is pure consumption. A car you have, well, it's supposed to bring you from A to B. That's what it was invented for. At least, like where we live, it's not to go from A to B, it's to show off, to be there on your own, to have like a perfect wheel and the sound system,
but
very, very amazing.
A nice car is so nice.
Not saying that you shouldn't have a car and that you shouldn't enjoy it, but it is not an investment. You lose money the minute you drive it off the dealer car park, and this is almost 30%. And considering that and deciding, okay, well, is that something I need? And is that something I have money? Like I have the 20, the 50, the 100,000 in cash. I do not have it. I do get a bank loan because my bank trusts me to pay it back. But this is still then money that does not belong to me and that I cannot or gain with the car. The car most likely is not your means of generating income. So this is always something we need to consider.
Yeah. So let's say, so what is consumption? So for most people who think, okay, this is an investment, it's in consumption. Vacation, a car, and an own house where you live in. So it becomes an investment if you rent it out. So if it's generating money for you. But if you live in there, it's not an invest. Most people think about it. So these are the top three, so to say, in daily life or for most people, that they say, okay, this is an invest, but this is a consumption.
And on the other hand, a really easy way to remember, anything that generates you, it's called Swiss money while you sleep soundly. You make a payment once, and then it generates a monthly income. So this could be as simple as a book where you write it once, it costs you a lot of effort, but then you live off the earnings of the book on a really small scale. If you have a YouTube channel that generates income every time people watch your show and watch the ad, for example. And then, of course, on a higher scale, if you have dividends from stocks, or if you have a real estate investment that pays you on a monthly basis. So anything where you actively do not need to put in effort, that is the good side. And anything that generates you income and pays off a debt you have or a loan at the bank, this is good debt. Because yes, it's not your money, and yes, you need to pay interest and stuff, but at the end of the day, once the interest is paid, you then in return own the house that you can rent out, in contrast to the car, which is gone after 10 years, it depreciates, while real estate appreciates in them.
And talking about appreciating or depreciating, let's talk as a final about trends. So what are the current trends in financing, in creating passive income. So what can you do from the stage where you are right now? So should I start? Do you want to start with your top three?
Whatever. So do one? No, let's do one of them.
In a row or
Yeah,
one each?
3 in a row.
Okay, so then I came up with my top 3 trends which I see currently on the financing market, which every one of you can do anytime. So you can start right now. Number 1, blockchain. So blockchain in cooperation or related to cryptocurrency. So when I first learned about what is behind it, it really was like a hallelujah moment for me. I was thinking, oh my God, that's so amazing. And I wanted to get into the topic and to learn more about it, because blockchain is not only the basic setup for crypto, but you can also use blockchain is the future economical revolution. So from my point of view. Number 2, real estate, but special real estate. So real estate concepts which are modern or innovative. So for example, generation living or shared living, or a combination of working and living. So there are so many different concepts, and if you can invest in one of them, so there are more and more concepts coming up. So France is one of the leading countries, and Netherlands are the 2 leading countries within this concept. So Germany is a little bit behind, but already starting to develop this as well. So if you have some fund, you can invest into it. That's a great stuff. And number 3, trading or trading platforms. So find a platform where you feel safe and which is easy. So this is the most important. So we had, as we shared in our newsletter, one experience with a platform. It was terrible. But find a platform which is easy. There are so many platforms. They are all in competition with each other. There are also platforms without any costs or with really limited costs. And you can always have a demo account where you can practice. And then if you feel secure and you have a little bit play money, like, I don't know, 500,000 euro, then you can pay it in and trade what you have successfully traded in your demo account. So these are my top 3, blockchain, real estate, and trading platforms. And what are yours?
Well, I also thought of 3 trends. The first one,
Number 1.
It's not only a trend, it's been around for a while, but it's everyone talks about it. It's, of course, is sustainable investment. Green. Yeah. So there's a lot out there. Of course, not for each and everyone, but people who say, well, I would invest sustainable, but there is no possibility, or I don't make the same return. I can tell you this is a lie. I've been investing into sustainable investments for 10 years. And this goes from stocks, from bonds, from direct investment into solar panels, in wind energy, in trees.
My favorite, grass paper.
Yes, grass paper, also a good one. So yeah, there are so many opportunities out there, and you don't need to be a millionaire. That's a fact. And looking at the returns, you can make just as much as with any other investment. And in contrast to 10 years ago, where it was really hard to find things, and where also there was no legal system and no scoring, you all have that today. So no excuses. If you want this pollution, big companies polluting our world to stop, if you want to stop companies investing into corn that should be provided to people in third world countries, whatever your motivation is, don't blame the others, do something about it, and take how much money you have spare and invest it. Number two, a big one, and like trend is also not the right word, but the number one word that we heard today at the Börsentag is a really old one, and it's called dividends. Dividends is not new. But
What is a
since
dividend?
dividend is something that your stock pays you. So you buy Adidas shares for 100 euro. This is then at maybe 150 euro in 5 years' time. So if you buy at 100, if you sell at 150, you'll have 50 euro. But this is if you're lucky. So the stocks can go up and down, and there's no guarantee. But despite the fact that the stock market can go up and down and you can win or lose, what you'll always get with the companies that pay dividends is an annual fixed amount per share that they give back to their investors for the trust, for providing the money, and for letting them participate. So in my fake example of Adidas with 100% stock price when I started and a really good successful year would pay €2 every year for every investor for every share. And this is independent of whether the stock goes up and down. And this is what makes it also attractive in economic situations as we have it, where we're not too sure where the stock exchange is going, where we know that leaving money at the bank is actually costing you, not making you money. Inflation is stable at 2%. So you need to make more than 2% in order not to lose money at the end of the day. And to have an investment in a stable company that pays you an annual amount in euro or dollar, whatever currency, independent of where the stock is going. This is very tempting, and this is what a lot of financial providers are also now encouraging, saying get into companies that pay dividends. And on a side note, if you want to enter now, if you're thinking of entering, you could do it now.
Do it now.
Because the stock exchange has plummeted. So as I said, 10 to 15% loss during the last week, but everyone's considering that it'll go up again. But if you enter now and the dividends are paid at the end of the first quarter or second quarter, you don't need to be invested for a year. If you're invested on the day the dividend is due, you'll get the money. So it's now a really good time to start investing.
And number 3.
Number 3, also not brand new, but definitely a trend, which is ETF, which is the abbreviation for exchange traded funds. And what this fund is doing, it invests in a stock exchange that you usually could not invest. So if you take the DAX, you can buy single shares of all 30 companies, but there's no such thing as a DAX stock. Whereas the ETF buys exactly in the ratio of the DAX. So with an ETF, you can actually buy into the DAX or any other currencies. ETFs are also then based on themes like entertainment, artificial intelligence, or what have you. So you can actually go into an industry, into a country, into whatever, independent of where the company is located.
Awesome. Will Malish be on a stock exchange one day? Who knows? But a Malish stock sounds
Probably.
Nice. Yeah, you never know.
I don't think so.
Would you guys invest with us?
But you'll never know.
Yeah, awesome. So this is it on
finances for the moment. I'm sure, and we also often share content regarding finances, and that's a really important topic. Many stress the fact about finances and women, which is kind of, there's nothing that actually prevents us women from being great at finances, in contrast to maybe hard labor, where we physically might be at a disadvantage. And as Kim Kiyosaki says, we have all opportunities to be just as good or even better investors. So hopefully in the future, we will not have the discussion about female investing. It is just that I'm an investor and that's that. So let's work towards it and let's invest and be successful.
Let's invest and be successful. And we would love to hear also about your experience with trading or with finances or passive income. Maybe you can give us also some tips. We are always
open for that
to learn new.
Yeah, we're still looking for the next Uber. So let us know.
And if you're around Frankfurt, by the way, so before we really stop, we are shooting our company video on The 3rd is it
Tuesday.
Monday? On Tuesday at 6 p.m. here in Frankfurt. So if you are interested to be part of the video as a statist, then DM us or PM us. Not DM.
What could DMD?
Ditch us. Ditch us. So guys, it was as always a pleasure.
Thanks for watching.
And see you on the 14th of March
with the topic
focus. Yes. And I think it will be a German show. Yeah, I think it should be a German show.
Who knows?
Focus, it's all German, so it will be a German show. And again, live at 5. So guys,
see you then.